Hey there, YouTube. Petey Twofinger at the air conditioner on, so it's probably really loud. I'm doing a recommendation video for myself. Well, yeah, if you're a fan of this channel, you may have missed some stuff. I've got a Vimeo account, and if something gets, if it's too hot for TV, too hot for YouTube, I move it over to Vimeo. So you can look, here I've got my Vimeo channel in the description. Vimeo, V-I-M-E-O, is another video host. I get a half-hour limit on those videos, so anything longer than that will be in a two-part form. And there is a long one. It's called The Secret. And that's what we're here to talk about today. I want to recommend some stuff that you may have missed. Check out Sesame Sewer. Or hey, how about Fat Guy Makes Big Splash, my first upload on YouTube. Shroomhead, the making of Shroomhead, the documentary. These are some deep cuts for you psychos out there. Now, I did my Christmas special for the Atari 2600, my 4-part anthology. I really enjoy that one, as well as the MIDI Hero series. These are overlooked gems from my YouTube. Now, really, we're going to talk about The Secret, which is a movie I made about how they lie. You don't believe in conspiracy theories? We didn't, the moon's flat. We didn't go to Mars, all that stuff. They replaced John Kennedy, and he played bass for the Beatles. All that conspiracy theory stuff, politics, I leave that kind of out of the mix here. My personal position is it's so much worse than we would ever wish to know that you don't want to know. That if there's a conspiracy theory, that's there to cover up something else that no one really knows about, and that you'd kind of be a fool to go after flat Earth or Paul is dead or we didn't go to the moon, because there's something else under there that you don't want to know. You wouldn't be able to sleep if you knew. So that's my position on it. When Trump came out, I couldn't believe Hillary and Trump. These are our options for voting. And I got shushed. The one time I bring up politics at the dinner table, I'm not allowed to talk about it as an adult because I get shushed. And then for the rest of the time, that's all I hear is people talking about Trump. Called it. Anyway, that's kind of where I stand. I love conspiracy theories. From Freeway Ricky Ross to Ollie North and the Contras to Owlsley Stanley, Millbrook, Ken Kesey's Can You Pass the Acid Test? One Flew Over the Dakota. That doorman didn't work for the CIA. There was something about that movie they filmed there. Rosemary's Baby. Now, where did Charlie Manson kill all those people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All good children go to heaven. Helter Skelter is going to get you. So there was a lot to that. And when I was making the Acid Casualties series, I was going to do one on Brian Wilson, and I got so hot. Mae Brussels, that's a recommendation. Radio personality extraordinaire Mae Brussels. When looking for conspiracy theories, we need to look closer to the truth than closer to fantasy. Mae Brussels. Now, Brian Wilson didn't get out of bed for 10 years. Brian Wilson knew something. And if we knew that something, Brian Wilson would have fallen down the stairs and cracked his neck, had a heart attack, or died of a car accident suddenly. If you look at that situation and you start seeing Yoko Ono, how the FBI was after Lennon, give peace a chance, and he's gunned down by a psycho wearing a Todd Rundgren t-shirt. Interesting. Tavistock Institute, weird scenes inside the canyon. Yes, I said it. These are all things we need to look at in ways that we look. Weird scenes inside the canyon. Tavistock Institute. Did they make the 60s happen? Was this part of a master plan to take societies from the 50s where we had church, we had a strong male presence, a family. We had morals to where we don't have gender or weapons to defend ourselves. So again, conspiracy theories are grand and they are like the popcorn that you would eat at a movie, but they're not the movie. They're not reality, and I don't ever kid myself or put myself in a position to think, to entertain myself to think, oh, maybe the earth really is flat. Maybe they really did replace Paul McCartney. I just don't do that. That's very dangerous and not safe to do. If you're a human being living on the planet Earth, we don't want to fall down the rabbit hole. That's very, very dangerous. What we do want to do is make ourselves aware of reality and the truth and try to focus on hope, love, positiveness, being a good person, making the right decisions in what we can, but also helping others if we have the chance to. So that's part of the reason why I made this video. I made a series of videos called Acid Casualties because I came very ill in 2016. On the 10th of February, I went to sleep and felt like I was falling down a hole. And that sent me into a 4-month-long panic attack, which felt like a chemical warfare attack. It felt like I was being microwaved. I went on testosterone replacement therapy, and that shut off my body's hormones. So I was like a dead man walking. I didn't have any of those juices like endorphins, all that feel good, all that brain chem was off. Just didn't have any. And so what I suffered was I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I lost my virility, I had cramping diarrhea, and a never-ending, impending fear of doom. Incredible fear, claustrophobia, restlessness, shaking, crying. It was first I was up for 3 days, then I was up for 4 days and I slept, then I was up for 4 days and I slept, then I was up for 5 days. And when I woke up after being at 5 days, I had vertigo, which didn't go away for about 15 minutes. And it was so intense I couldn't walk. And that was the worst part of it, that vertigo. So there's much more of my story in the 6th episode of the Acid Casualties, but I was sick when I made this series of videos. It's the most popular thing on my channel. Now, 2 of those, episode 1, Sid Barrett, and episode 5, Peter Green, frontman of Fleetwood Mac, the original Fleetwood Mac, not the disco Stevie Nicks cocaine Los Angeles fiasco band that you love, the actual blues rock, kind of Santana-ish, wonderful instrumental, rockish. It's not all instrumental, but they had one really good one called Supernatural. But episode 1 and episode 5, they were banned by YouTube, and they now live on my Vimeo channel. Episode 2 is Vince Taylor, and nobody knows who he is unless you're from England or France. Episode 3 is Rocky Erickson, Texas rocker from the 13th Floor Elevators, psychedelic pioneer. Episode 4 is Skip Spence, who he went to New York, a jolly lad, and he had a beard. He met a witch there that taught him some new tricks, and he took some LSD, came back to the hotel with a fire axe, did his trick on the door, got in, and with the scissors went after one of the managers, and the police took him away to Bellevue. Now, he was in Bellevue with shock treatment, just like Rocky. Thorazine or some kind of horrible drug treatment keeping him all downered up, so he was just a vegetable. And he was in there for a long time. When he got out that night, he jumped on his Harley in his pajamas, rode straight down to Nashville, and recorded an album of music that he wrote while he was in incarceration. And that album is one of the greatest psychedelic albums that exists. It's called Ore, Skip Spence Ore. So if you go through this series, if you don't know who Sid Barrett is, the original Pink Floyd frontman, if you never heard any Vince Taylor, you don't really know who Rocky Erickson is, Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac, you only know Stevie Nicks, and then you need to check out all this music, especially when you get to that Skip Spence. That Ore album is incredible. Now, I've got the comments shut off on a lot of these because people were, David Gilmour said this. Sid Barrett lived with his sister Rosemary, and she made him pancakes and oatmeal every day for 35 years. And, oh my goodness, I just could not believe how these people attach themselves. And they don't even watch the thing. They just see their favorite rock star name and the word acid casualty, and they go, he never took any acid. You know, you were wrong. And like the whole point of the thing was none of them were acid casualties. They made this, the CIA and them, the Tavistock Institute, the shadow government, pushed LSD on the entire country. They flooded the country with it. They turned this whole thing with this music. If you read the weird scenes inside the canyon, how they manufactured all these bands, all these kids and all these popular bands came out of the same place, which was a military industrial complex town. All the rock stars' parents were all in the military. Jim Morrison's dad was the guy who started the Vietnam War in the Gulf of Tonkin. I mean, it's just, couldn't get any better. It's all there for you. So, like I said, when it's good to know Mae Brussels, but it's not good to become a conspiracy theorist, because really a lot of that stuff that's out there is just a theory and there's no proof. So check out my movie The Secret, where there actually is proof. We go to the secret location, it's revealed on the film. It's really worth watching. The acid casualty videos are excellent too. People really responded well to them. Episode 6 is about me. That's my story and why I got so mad at everyone who was leaving the negative comments and tearing me a new one over some minute fact that may not be true or may be true, and I choose to print it as it was true. Or they didn't even watch the video, because I'm here saying, hey, we don't know about acid. We know that if you have schizophrenia or a tendency towards mental illness and you take this stuff, you will go nuts. And we know that people who have schizophrenia, if it's undiagnosed, they usually crack when they're 25 to 27. And that's usually when all of these same people who are unbelievably famous on the road, all the money, all the fame, and then they go and take a little bit of acid. That's the magic ingredient to have the psychological breakdown. But it wasn't an acid casualty. It wasn't like they took it once and went nuts. I can fly running off a flagpole or Art Linkletter type of propaganda. That's not true. So a lot of the negativity that I got was that, where they didn't even watch the thing. And I mean, it put me in a real awkward position, because I can't come out and be like, acid's great. You got any problems? Psychological problems? Take some acid. Acid's not kicking in yet? Take some more. You'll know when you've had enough. I mean, I can't, this is like little kids watching YouTube, or watching Minecraft, and they come and find my channel. No, I'm not going to be responsible for that. So I had to kind of really watch what I said and talk about how much we don't know about psychedelics, and also how powerful they are. Because I had some negative experiences. I had some doozies. I had some good ones. We're talking fire department, cops, locked up for over a month, fighting the fire department, like, PCP overdose, like some doozies. Okay, I've been there. I could tell you some stories that would make your teeth turn green. That's my excuse. So, somewhere between episode 5 and 6, that's Peter Green and me, I got a message from a guy who's a fan, a legit, all-around cool man, calls himself Quicksilver Fan 69, messaged me, hey Petey, you missed one. Craig Smith / Matreya Kali. And instead of going, I didn't miss one, the series is over, like I was doing in episode 6, because people were like, you need to do Jeff Mangum. Do Steven Tyler. He fell off the stage in Argentina. He was probably on the old Tootski again. He's an acid cat. Like, just get out of here. When Jeff Mangum had rabies, he didn't even write any good music. Neutral Milk Hotel, get out of here. It sucks. So, sorry, Jeff Mangum fans. Your music is wonderful. I'm sure it is wonderful. I know a millennial who knew who they were, so I just automatically assume it's probably got a hip-hop beat to it. The guy probably raps. Anyway. I went ahead and looked into this guy, Craig Smith, Matreya Kali, and within like 30 seconds I was like, oh my God, there's an episode here, a strong one. So there was a book that had just come out. This guy was relatively unknown. I mean, he wrote some like hit songs for some very big people. You can learn all about that. I would encourage you to check out the video and then buy the book, because the book has all the details and it has a whole thing. Mike Stacks wrote the book. He was the author that I contacted, and I said, hey, look, I made this series. Here's the link to each episode. Come back at me and let me know if you give me your blessing to do an episode on your guy. You just wrote this book that just came out. It had been out for less than a year. And he came back a couple weeks later and was like, here's a whole giant folder full of pictures and all this information, and he gave me the book. So I read the book, and then I got into the music, and the music was one of those finds. It's really good. Craig Smith / Matreya Kali is right up at the top. Like, it's that Or album is unbelievably great, and so is Craig Smith / he changed his name, Matreya Kali. That stuff is great too. And I don't want to tell his story because you should just watch the episode. You should really get the book too. So Mike Stacks is the author behind the Matreya Kali, Craig Smith story. He has a website, a vlog called Ugly Things Like Pretty Things, that band. And it's all psychedelic rock-based stuff. He's actually got a real deal psych rock band. There's old ladies in it, and like they wear like authentic 60s like psychedelic clothes. Like she's got on like these classy mini skirts with the white patent leather boots, and they're playing like Fox-looking guitars with weird fuzz pedals. And this is some legit, real deal psychedelic music. It's excellent stuff. That's the name of that band is The Loons, Loons, The Loons, and they play. I think they're based in Southern California or San Francisco, but they play in like Milan. They play in Italy. They play in Europe. So definitely really cool stuff with Mike Stacks, his Ugly Things blog, and then that book, Into the Darkness. I forget what the name of the book's called. But you can check out all of the Acid Casualties videos here on my channel. You're going to have to run over to Vimeo to see the first episode and the 5th episode. And while you're at Vimeo, make sure to check out Sesame Sewer. And you can dig into the secret. And when you're back at YouTube, you can see the visit videos. So you got your playlist full. Make sure you keep this video bookmarked. Remember, Tavistock Institute, May, Brussels, Weird Seeds Inside the Canyon. Now, again, there was that other episode. Brian Wilson was in bed for 10 years. He knew something that if he talked about it, he would be suicided. It all goes back to Dig It, Doris Day, Terry Melcher. The Manson family, the murders, the movie, the hotel, the doorman. This is all tied together somehow. I don't know how it's tied together. But Paul McCartney and John Lennon did LSD with Charles Manson. They did. And there's a lot more to the story than that. And Brian Wilson somehow was involved in that. And he got so scared after what went down, he didn't leave his bed for 10 years. And when I started researching that episode, I started going off in so many directions. I got involved. All of that stuff I was telling you about. Tavistock Institute, which I've known about Tavistock Institute for many, 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 many years. I knew what the Illuminati was when I was in kindergarten, because my mom was into all this stuff. When it first kind of came out, there was a charismatic movement that spread across the United States where people were leaving churches and they were speaking in tongues and healing people and casting out demons. And my mom was really into that. We were in a lot of weird churches. We had all the people that were getting kicked out of smaller churches. So I went to church schools. I went to a Baptist school. I went to some charismatic schools. I was around all that stuff. Like coming up around praying in tongues and healing, and you'd never go to the doctor. Jesus is your doctor, you know, all that stuff. So through that, my mom was in touch with the underground, and she knew about a lot of stuff that most people didn't talk about. So I was exposed to a real lot of that at a young age, and that affects who I am today. That's one of the reasons I enjoy entertaining these conspiracy theories, but I don't buy into them. It's because she never really did either. Nobody knows. We don't know. When you start saying you know and you have proof, well, that's when there's a real problem. I say, oh, I know, and I have proof in that secret, but it is. It is. There's proof of what I say. And it's cool. It's a great story. I would really twist your arm to watch it. And let me know what you thought of all this business. Hopefully, if you're a fan of me and you like what I do and you watch a lot of YouTube, you'll take me to heart and give me a chance to check some of this stuff out. Because that means you'll get to know me more and you'll learn some stuff. I learned a ton of stuff by going through this process. It's not like I know everything, but the more time you spend in the right places online, the more you'll learn. And it's interesting. These are all great stories. Anyway, I thank you guys so much for giving me an audience to do what I do. I really appreciate that. And with today, I wish you nothing but the best. Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace